crew of the Artemis II mission is headed home after making history today.
Houston, we have you the same, and it is so great to hear from Earth again. To Asia, Africa, and Oceania, we are looking back at you. We hear you can look up and see the moon right now. We see you too.
That was the moment NASA reestablished contact with the crew after they completed their trip around the dark side of the moon. They traveled farther than any human has ever traveled before. And just moments ago, the crew got a phone call from President Trump, who had this heartfelt moment with Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen.
While I have the microphone, sir, I just want to thank you on behalf of Canada. The space leadership you spoke of from America truly is extraordinary. I've said this many times before. A nation that leads like that and creates and sets big goals for humanity that brings other countries along with it is truly incredible. And I know that's a very intentional, not a necessary decision. Intentional decision to lead by example and to allow other countries like Canada to share our gifts and help you achieve these mutually beneficial goals, like establishing a presence on the moon and eventually going to Mars. And Canadians are so proud to be a part of this program.
Well, I have to say I spoke to a very special person, Wayne Gretzky, who I think you know, the great one. And I spoke to your Prime Minister and many other friends I have in Canada. They are so proud of you, and you have a lot of courage. I'm not sure if they'd want to do that. I'm not even sure if the great one would want to do that, to be honest with you. But you have a lot of courage doing what you're doing, a lot of bravery and a lot of genius. But they're very, very proud of you.
The President went on to later invite the Artemis crew to visit the White House when they have time after returning home so he can get their autographs. Matt Doherty watched all of today's exciting events unfold from Mission Control at Johnson Space Center tonight. Matt.
Yeah, it is day 5 of the mission, and that crew, like you said, is heading back home. They're breaking records today and taking more stunning photographs from space.
To all of you down there on Earth and around Earth, we love you from the moon.
Minutes before losing communication with Mission Control this evening, astronaut Victor Glover shared powerful words from space.
Houston copies. We'll see you on the other side.
We will see you on the other side.
The expected loss of signal was restored a little more than 40 minutes later as the spacecraft emerged from the far side of the moon. Day 5 was filled with memorable moments like these from Artemis II as the crew reached the apex of its mission toward the moon before heading back toward Earth. The cabin of the Orion spacecraft was dark for much of the day to avoid reflections as the astronauts took photographs the closer they got to the moon. In an emotional moment broadcast live, fellow astronauts chose to name a crater after the late wife of Commander Reed Wiseman, who died from cancer in 2020.
There's a feature in a really neat place on the moon, and it's a bright spot on the moon. And we would like to call it Carol.
Today, for all humanity, you're pushing beyond that frontier.
History was made early this afternoon when the 4 astronauts on board the Orion spacecraft traveled further than any other humans in history. The record set by the crew of Apollo 13 back in 1970 was broken just before 1 o'clock Central Time, when the Artemis II crew reached a maximum distance of 252,756 miles from Earth.
We most importantly choose this moment to challenge this generation and the next to make sure this record is not long-lived.
As the crew rounded the moon, those in Mission Control turned their patches around, signifying the mission is halfway through and that the crew is coming home. Tonight, the NASA science team is gathering some of those images that were taken. They'll be going over those with the astronauts tomorrow while the memories are still fresh. Lynn.
Quite a day, a lot to remember indeed for all of us. Matt Doherty, Mission Control tonight. Thank you.